Welcome into the College Chaos Podcast. Garrett Ross, Jack Mackenzie, Jacob Wilson on the ones and twos, and you. We have a lot of stuff to get here today. Looking back at the national championship, Jack, which was one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad one.
Pretty brutal. What does TCU's loss mean for the Big 12 Conference going forward? I know we got a lot of new teams coming in, changing the guard, but it's really going to be difficult to get over that, so we can dive into that. Also, you have the way too early top 25s. We got a trio of them that we found. There's some teams you really like.
Yeah, there's some teams I really like, and a couple teams where I'm like, they're not going to end up there if they even stay in there long next year. So we'll dive into that too.
Get into that, and then basketball segment, we will get into Chris Beard's replacement down on the 40 acres.
Who is Texas going to hire, and just how many different SEC and Big 12 coaches are going to be put on the watch lists for this?
It's really intriguing, man. And but let's dive into this national championship game.
Let's do it.
Coming into this last week in our first episode, I was the ignorant person who said this might be a low-scoring affair. That I was wrong. It happens to the best of us. But man, TCU come out, and I don't know if it was the moment. I don't know if it was just seeing the size of Georgia's players. I don't know what it was, but they were lost from the opening kick. I mean, they never could get in sync. Max Duggan could never really find that magic he had all year long. He was really outdueled by Stetson Bennett, who is, look, I don't want to take anything away from Stetson Bennett, but he's not a game changer. Like he's a good manager. He's a time manager, a possession manager.
He's a really good game manager.
He's a game manager, man. But, let's get into this. 65-7. We had our watch party going on.
Yep.
A lot of fun. What was your biggest take? Like, when you see the game starting to unfold, when did you see it really getting away from the Frogs?
I mean, it was probably getting to, 24-7? That's when I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I mean, you see TCU, who's supposed to have all this team speed and fly around, hit guys hard, and just be going crazy. Like, sometimes it works better, sometimes it doesn't, but they weren't flying around. Brock Bowers was getting open at will.
He's a dog,
Lad
man.
McConkey, who... Love
name.
him.
You like that name,
Best
right?
name of the championship game. But, he was a walk-on for a reason. And he's getting open. He's scoring. Stetson Bennett has 2, walk-in touchdown runs. I mean...
That was... Okay, I want to get into that because that was something that really caught me off guard. Like, I've watched Georgia a few times this year. Obviously, I'm an LSU fan, so I keep an eye on the SEC. But I haven't seen Stetson Bennett's athleticism like that. And maybe that's on me. Maybe I haven't, paid much attention to Georgia this year. But that really caught me by surprise. I thought we would see Max Duggan be the one to kind of change the game and use his feet because that's what he's done all year. But seeing Stetson Bennett do that fake, and Jacob, I know you brought it up, completely shook the cameraman, had us all like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
And he could have, and I would have done this, and maybe it's me being petty, I would have literally walked into the end zone and looked at everybody and just laughed at them. Give me the 15-yard penalty. I don't give a damn, man.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he was more deceptively athletic. Between the two quarterbacks, he was the more deceptively athletic, you know what I'm saying.
Man. And look, I don't want to the team speed thing. I think that was one of the, and I don't want to take anything away from TCU. They're extremely fast. They are extremely athletic, but it's like a different beast. And Georgia did such a good job, sideline to sideline. TCU could never catch an edge against them. I thought DeMarcado played solid, but their line could not get any push against the front seven from Georgia, and it was just brutal night all the way around, man.
It always seemed like there was a guy kind of like getting to Duggan, maybe not making even making contact, but getting him unsettled in the pocket. But they also kept him from getting out of the pocket.
Yeah.
Like they did a good job containing and having someone flash in for some kind of pressure to get in his face. And I was amazed at how little Duggan ran the ball. I know that they struggled to get first downs. I mean, I think they got 9 first downs and 7 points through the night. Something like that. But yeah. I was amazed by it, honestly.
Look, it's shout out to Georgia, man. That was a hell of a game plan they did. And I think coming into this, obviously logically, you got to take away Quentin Johnson. And I wasn't expecting him to literally be a non-factor at all. The dude has one catch, and there was that one play. I think it was it was either late in the second quarter or early in the third, and Quentin was out in the slot, and there was nobody off of him. The defender had about a 12-yard cushion there, and Duggan could have easily taken the snap, maybe 1 or 2 step drop, hit him, and let Quentin run. Instead, he elects to let Quentin go on a fly. He tries to throw about 15 yards. It's just incomplete, broken up, and that was just kind of summed it up. Trey Hodges Tomlinson, I was expecting him to kind of have a breakout game. Used his athleticism that he's been known for. He's a ball hawk. I mean, he's undersized, but the kid is not scared. He will play anybody, and he really got exposed. That one long touchdown pass, he thought he had safety help. Unfortunately,
he did not have safety help.
He did not have safety help. But I was looking at that.
That's more of a blown coverage thing. Probably some miscommunication.
That was a great plan, though. If you look at the receiver, I mean, they took the slant and just completely took the safety out of the box for him. But do you think that really hinders his draft stock? Because I don't know what his market necessarily was coming out. I think he's a hell of a player, but I know being 5'9", that's probably not what NFL people want to see. I just feel like the way he got exposed, if he had an opportunity, that was really going to hinder it.
Yeah, I mean, through the game, between that and the one time where he looked like he completely pulled up on making a hit for some reason on a running back,
which is very uncharacteristic.
It doesn't help his draft stock. I don't think it hurts it that bad, but it definitely doesn't help it.
So, what could TCU have done differently? I know
had Kendre Miller healthy,
but all right.
And even then, I don't think it makes a difference.
That's what I was going to say. Because look, I'm all for Kendre Miller. I've been able to follow him since he was in high school. Tremendous player, tremendous kid, but
TCU
I don't even
had
know
36 rushing yards. I'm sorry, but yeah, according to the USA Sports Data site, TCU had 36 rushing yards. And even if you add Kendre Miller back, if you hold any Power 5 team to 36 rushing yards, I don't see a world in which Kendre Miller makes a big enough difference.
Stetson Bennett had 39 rushing yards. You telling me Stetson Bennett outran the whole damn TCU team? Like, that is ridiculous, man. All right, so Stetson Bennett, I want to get into this. When you look at what they were able to put together, I think they had, just 2 drives where they didn't score touchdowns, and he has this swan song at the beginning of the fourth quarter. What are your takeaways from him as far as a college quarterback? So I've come across this tweet from Connor.
He's not eligible for the Hall of Fame.
He's not eligible for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
How the hell do you have 2 national championships, MVPs, and you're not eligible for the College Hall of Fame?
Because apparently you have to be an All-American.
Is this something where the NCAA is just neglecting their ability to be relevant in any case?
I think it has to do with actually the Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's run by the NCAA, but I think it's kind of like a weed out. It's just simpler. We have so many kids playing every year that we just have to be you have to be an All-American to get in.
Yeah, but that's ridiculous.
Exactly, and we ran into this with Mike Leach and the winning percentage thing for coaches, where he's like .002 or something short on the winning percentage to get into the Hall of Fame. So I figure there'll be a push to look at it, but I don't think anyone's going to forget Stetson Bennett anytime soon, especially in Athens.
I don't think they will either. And it's crazy to think that when you look at somebody have a career the way he did, how are you, if you're the guy who's got to follow that up? I mean, think about the expectations you're having to walk into.
Oh, well, Kirby Smart will just gaslight him into not worrying about that. Because Kirby Smart, I'm sorry, he is a master. He's a master of rat poison. He really might be better than Saban at it.
Well, he learned from the master.
Yeah, well, the student might have become the master now.
I think he has to.
Because how does this entire team sit there and firmly believe? I bet they could pass a lie detector test saying, we know people said we were going to go 7-5 when no one anywhere in the world with their right mind would say that they were going to go 7-5. Even 8-4, 9-3, 10 wins. This team was always going to be a 10-win team, always and forever. And somehow they believed they were going to go 7-5.
It's really mind-boggling, and I think going back, and if you have an opportunity, I'm sure everybody or most people who listen to this have had a chance to listen to Kirby's pregame speech.
I just did right before the show.
I will run through a damn wall sideways for you if I hear that. It was really insane. And then even in the pregame, when Holly Rowe is interviewing him, he's just real nonchalant. We're going hunting. Their mindset was like, I don't know how you get to a point like where one team can have that kind of mindset and one team can look completely oblivious of the moment, the way that we saw it unfold.
Yeah, I mean, it stinks when that kind of stuff happens, at least for the TCU side, but you got to have been there. You got to have some kind of experience. I don't know Dyke's full coaching history, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't been on this stage yet. And I know none of those players at TCU had been on this stage. Mm-mm. So you got to go there and you got to learn. And that was brutal because that was a learning experience. That was the biggest learn, capital L.
Do you think, all right, so I was thinking about this, and I know when you look at what Tennessee was able to do this year from their offensive standpoint, and they run a very similar style to what TCU's offense is. And for years, and look, you say what you want to about the man. I'm not in his corner, but it really all goes back to Art Briles and what he brought at Baylor and that wide open offense. But the one Achilles heel for it has always been, well, you can't win a big game. You can't win a title with that offense. And I think when you look at, like, Garrett Riley was just completely lost at times on the sidelines. I think he was really outmanned, didn't know what to do from a schematic standpoint. And if you're somebody who relies on that offense consistently, you're a Tennessee who is in the mix right now. They really think that they can take a step forward, or even a UFC. We'll get into that. USC.
USC, sorry.
Does that hinder, or does that add fuel to the fire for the haters on that style of offense, in your opinion?
I don't think it should add fuel to the fire because I think you have to have the personnel to execute at the high level. Everyone knows those games are won and lost in the trenches. Everyone looks at that game as like, TCU really started losing it in the trenches. And you can have great offensive linemen in that scheme. You just have to get them on campus. Now, if that's a problem with the scheme, that great offensive linemen don't want to play in it, that's a separate issue in my mind. Because I think that an air raid offense can and will eventually play for a championship and win a championship.
Well, I mean, we're seeing, I wouldn't say full-on air raids. You're seeing the spin-off offenses, Saban adapting and starting to spread it out more. So
that's what I mean. Like, we've seen it. And at Bama, they've done it at the highest level.
Yeah, but I think when you look, what I'm like, compared to what I think they run more of a pro-style spin on it, per se, than what you're seeing here. So I think that's the one difference. It's just really intriguing. But watching the game, like, once it really got out of hand after halftime, we all started like kind of turning our attention to the internet, and you started seeing all the memes coming out. And the Hypno Toad
at halftime. They were able to do that at halftime.
So when Georgia dropped the Hypno Dog situation, and look, don't mind, we're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're
don't
trying to
mind
get
the board.
fixed.
We will get to that in the break. So when Georgia dropped the Hypno Dog, that kind of does that put to bed this Hypno Toad, right? Like, they can't, TCU cannot come back with a Hypno Toad, right?
I really hope. And like, yeah, I don't think you can. I mean, maybe that's why they were winning so many close games this year. They had that little hypnotic magic, getting the other team to fall asleep at just the right moment. But it's done now. I'm sorry. Not only do you have the ability to post at halftime, knowing full well you're not blowing this lead, they probably could have posted it earlier. And then on top of all that, they didn't just go for, we're going to do like some ripoff of it. They went full, we are doing the Hypnotoad, but it is a dog now. We're going to call out that it used to be the Hypnotoad, and we're going to call it hypnodog.mp4. Like, we do everything the same as you, and we do it better.
So what do you think as far as, like, where does the Big 12 go from here? I feel like this really kind of gave it a black eye.
Yeah, I don't think we can fully go through that in like 5 minutes. I think we need a full segment on that.
We're going to have to get a full segment, and we will do that next. We're coming back here. We're going to have a deep dive into what's next for the Big 12. Obviously, you have a change of guard. You got some new teams coming in. But let's get into what this does and the negative or positive impact it has on the Big 12 going forward. You're listening to the College Chaos Podcast.